hadith, multiple ones, that is affirmed by your scholars and your authorities to be a statement of the Prophet.
So how
Therefore,
can you listen to any of them?
exactly, there you go. It's done. It's finished.
And that's
Just
what
to
I
be
mean.
clear, yeah, just to be clear, Brandy, do you recognize that people claim that certain ayat in the Quran, like the mountains are pegs, or like the universe being a certain way, or galaxies or stars, people make claims that that's false as well. So we have to be sure about what we're discussing. Number one, let me just lay the foundation. Number one, the field of science, which you're using as a criteria to determine something, is not. Then we make a generalization. For example, in the Quran, it tells us, right, that
I think you're cutting out or something. I
One
can't.
second.
in
Let's
the
talk
Quran it
about
tells us,
Sunnah. Navid,
in the Quran it tells
well,
us, if you can hear me now,
the
in the Quran it tells us, let me just finish this point. In the Quran it tells us that Allah created Adam without a mother and a father. Right? If you go to the field of science, they will say there's no human being that doesn't have a mother or father.
So then it's wrong because the
Would you consider
Quran.
that to be an error in the Quran?
No. Why would I?
Yeah, but
Science,
even science
because
is
the
telling
field of
that
Why
we
would
science,
I
can.
say
I'm
that God's
from,
wrong? Well, then I would
exactly.
we
have to
have
believe
bigger.
science before God. But if I
You got to understand science, Brandy. Science is looking at a set of particulars and
that's
making a
kind of a different
generalization.
field, though.
Brother, you're talking
Those are
about
not. Those
science.
are.
One moment,
Yeah,
one
that's
moment. Hello.
different.
He's talking about science, and there were so many contradictions in Hadith, and I don't know how you pick and choose for yourself. For example, about drinking the camel urine as a medicine. Do you believe in that as being sahih?
On any of these points, let's first establish the principle so that we don't end up just throwing random stuff out and not being able to discuss anything.
The principle is that Allah says,
The
I sent
principle is
this
this.
book.
Raju, please, I'm
Allah
trying to
says
address the
that He
point.
sent this book fully detailed. You miss the principle.
You're done.
So
Go ahead, Raju.
even if the hadith is perfect, you don't have to go through it because you have disbelieved Allah.
That I don't agree with regarding the Quran. But when you're making comparisons and you're saying, this is what God says, this is what God taught, and here is something we've observed in science, the side of the equation that's the observation in science is not conclusive.
No,
Right?
no, no. I'm sorry. That's not relevant what you're saying. Adam and Jesus are miracles. This is not about that. This hadith is a Sahih hadith. It's not making a miraculous claim. It's trying to tell us what science says. It says the prophet said the water of the man is
No, it's
white
not.
and the water, yes it is. The water of the man is white and the water of the woman is yellow. If they meet and the water of the man prevails over the water of the woman, it will be a male by Allah's leave. If the water of the woman prevails over the water of the man, it will be a female by God's leave. It's not claiming a miracle here. It's trying to explain the process of,
Interestingly,
of
Navid.
gender of
Yeah,
gender and
interestingly,
of a
Navid.
baby.
Let's look, Navid. Look, anyone could approach this. I'll give you an interpretation. You don't have to accept it. You could take it or leave it. Here's an interpretation, right? In order to have a male, you need a Y chromosome. That only comes from man. And the female has two X chromosomes, right? So if in a way you could interpret this, I'm not saying this is a valid interpretation. I am just literally making this up right now, right? But you could say, hey, the meaning of this is possibly that it says that when there's a man involved, if the Y chromosome is dominant, that means XY, you get a male, right? And if the female is dominant, you get XX, and that's female. Oh, it's teaching genetics. I'm not going to do that. That's not my point here. The point is interpretation of this text. First, you have to establish that it's authentic. Then two, you have to establish that there's a concrete understanding of it, right? So there's other ayats like this
It's
in the
funny though.
Quran,
It's just
and
weird,
whether or not
Reshard, because
But you're willing to, but you're willing
you
to go through mental
yeah,
gymnastics for all these hadith. But when
but
we
not
say
for the
the data
Quran.
set
Yeah,
doesn't include 112 unnumbered surahs, and it makes sense, the unnumbered surahs are separate from our data set. You're saying no, this is a mistake. He deliberately manipulated, and
very
you
good,
have the
Naveed.
worst.
So
This is
let's come back to this data set. When you say the data set, right? If you tell me there's a count of something in the Quran, right? It works when you say it works. That's not how counting works. That's not a code. That's not mathematics.
Absolutely. If you have an established data set and you demonstrate it within that data set, absolutely it's valid. You just don't want it. You don't want it to happen.
When you say establish the data set, this is very
Yes,
important, right?
yes. Now,
If I
if
bring,
an unnumbered
I know,
verse
listen,
versus
if I
numbered verses.
I know. When you say unnumbered and numbered, right? These numbering schemes are from written records, right? But your authorized text of the Quran, right, which is the message from Rashad Khalifa, if you ultimately say, however he tells you to count it, that's the way to count it, then there's no way to objectively verify what he's presenting.
Not counting the unnumbered verses for the count of the words individually appearing in the Basmalah is a reasonable position, and that's why people that don't even believe in Rashad accept this count.
Reasonable about it.
Yeah, Shabir Ali does not actually. Shabir Ali thinks that Rashad was crazy, but he accepts this count, right? So believing in this count is not dependent on believing that Rashad was good or truthful or a messenger. You're portraying it as
This
that.
count,
It's not.
No. The problem is you're talking about the count as though it's something objective. I'm
It is
saying that
objective. It is objective.
the only way many of these counts are determined is if you put brackets around what should be counted.
No, it's called methodology.
Sometimes, yes, exactly, Abdullah. I would love to know what the methodology is, because sometimes for some words, I wish the rule was that for words, right, that you only include the basmala or you don't. It's not consistent, and you guys all know that. If you're familiar with the counts, it doesn't work like that. Because I looked at this, I said, "Oh, that's amazing." Right? If an ayah is supposed to have 19 letters, what about all the other ayahs? Oh no, only some ayahs. If a surah has 19
Yeah,
words,
it makes sense.
what about,
Yeah, and it's reasonable for the
the
first
sentence,
verse to be
Navid, let
19
me just finish the
letters.
sentence, bro. Let me just finish the sentence. Look, I get it. We disagree, but at least hear what I'm saying. A consistent methodology, I say an ayah has X number of words, and it's a multiple of 19. Well, all of them should have that. If only some of them do, then there's no miracle.
Yeah, so
Right?
so looking at the opening verse of every chapter and saying, "Hey, this has 19." Why doesn't the 15th verse of every chapter have a multiple of 19? That's not a reasonable expectation, right?
Are
And
you
you're just
saying it
not
does or
getting it.
doesn't have a multiple of 19?
Yeah, the
Does the opening verse of every surah have 19 words
yeah,
or letters?
19 letters. Yes, of course.
The opening verse of every surah has 19 letters.
Yes, that's called the
You mean
basmalah.
you mean the unnumbered verse?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to Surah
Right.
At-Tawbah. I've never looked at this, so this is an interesting claim. Surah At-Tawbah
The,
has the first verse has 19 letters.
yeah, it's missing. Yeah, it's missing it, but this is actually beautiful. It's missing that one.
No,
But if you go
hang on a second.
if you go 19 chapters
You said
later, there's
something.
two of them.
No. You
Yeah,
said something
yeah,
specific. You said the
yeah.
opening verse of every chapter has 19 letters. That's what you
Yeah,
said.
except chapter 9.
Except
Chapter
chapter
9
9 because it's pushed
doesn't have it.
Exactly.
because well, hold on because it's pushed 19 chapters later in chapter 27. There's two basmalahs, right?
One
So
second.
the total basmalahs in the Quran is still 114, 19 times 6. Chapter 9
That's
is
not what we're
missing it.
discussing. That's not what we're discussing. You said the opening verse of
Does
every
anyone
chapter
like?
has
I'm just
19
curious.
letters.
Is anyone? Well, there's 20 people here. Is anyone considering his criticisms like legitimate? Like these are not even valid criticisms.
No.
He's
To
beating
say
around
they're
the
Does
not,
bush, as
anyone
usual
like
in
to say
Quran.
anybody?
they're,
No, there's
okay,
25
that's fine,
people
Naveed.
here. Does anyone like? You don't even need to like. You don't even. It doesn't even matter. Even if you're a submitter, right? There are valid criticisms of submission you can make. These aren't them. These are not valid criticisms. Like these are not legitimate.
You
Even the
don't
people
believe
that
they're
debate.
valid. But
Even
right now,
even
Naveed, you made a
even
claim. You just
even
made a claim,
Abdul
Naveed, that was
Lomax.
wrong.
Listen, even Abdul Lomax, who debated Edith
People are
Yüksel
Naveed. It doesn't really
extensively
matter.
and
It's
rejects and
irrelevant.
fully rejects Code
Yeah, it
19,
doesn't matter, Naveed.
these are
He's
not
irrelevant
valid.
to this conversation. But I just want everyone to listen to what was just said. Naveed just made a statement, right? That this statement is demonstrably wrong. Naveed said the opening ayah of every surah has a multiple of 19.
Yeah, except chapter 9.
And then it has two.
Find that? I know. Hang on a
And
second.
and
Thank
then
you for
19 chapters
clarifying
later,
that.
there's two.
Thank you for. I'm not asking you what the basmalah is. I'm saying that you tried to present a consistent method. The first ayah of every surah has 19 letters or a multiple of 19. I'm even being generous to you because you didn't say a multiple of 19. You said 19 letters. You know that the first ayah of Surah Tawbah does not have 19 letters. So the exception is All of them follow a rule except one.
Yeah, and isn't it coincidental that that same chapter is one that's got 2 added verses to it?
Yeah, exactly. That's a flag by God. He didn't
Just
put
out
the
of
full
curiosity,
stamp of
Abdullah,
approval. That's
Abdullah,
just a
what does that
fake.
change? Look, Abdullah, you know what he just said, and he was wrong in what he said, because if I
No,
thought
but
there was a consistent method, I'll give you another example, right? The first revelation has 19 words,
yep,
has a
correct.
multiple of 19 words. Can I say that's true? Any surah has a multiple of 19 words.
Any surah? But it's just me, or is he cutting out for you guys as well?
Yeah, I don't hear him right now. So again, Rose, with all due respect, these are desperate criticisms. These are not even legitimate criticisms.
You
If
know what?
someone
That's
says,
fine.
"Hey,
Let
hey,
people
Rashad
determine for
counted,"
themselves,
if
Navid.
someone says, no, if someone says, "Hey, Rashad says this paragraph has, this many words, but it actually doesn't, and here's the counting, and you can't show what Rashad counted," yeah, that's
Very
something,
good.
right? But this
Okay, let me
isn't.
bring
This
his
isn't even
quote. Let me
that.
bring his quote.
If he at this point he's just nitpicking to try to find something to criticize because he has a fundamental problem with submission. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to remove Muhammad's name from his shahada. He's
Again,
not open to
evaluating
God
Navid.
sending another
Look,
messenger.
Navid.
He doesn't want to let go of
Okay.
hadith. He doesn't want to let go of sunnah. So he's stuck. What else is he going to say?
So, Navid, this isn't constructive to this conversation.
It's
If you're
very
asking me,
constructive. It actually
Navid,
describes. It's
I'm
an
almost
accurate
done speaking,
description.
Navid. I'm
It's an
almost
accurate
done
description
speaking,
of.
Navid.
You're not.
I'm
It's an
almost done
accurate
speaking,
description.
Navid.
It's an
I don't know why you're
accurate.
doing that.
Okay,
I just
good.
started
Go ahead.
talking,
Finish.
Navid. I
Go
just
ahead.
started
Finish.
talking,
Go ahead.
bro. Honestly, I
Well,
waited for you to
I
finish.
was in
Come
the
on.
middle of talking. You interrupted me.
I said this is okay. No, go ahead. You finish then. I'll wait till you're
Yeah,
done. I
I'm saying
apologize if I
this
interrupt.
is an accurate description of your behavior. These are coping mechanisms. If you don't say these things, then you have to concede defeat. These are the only things you can say, right? They're all just cheap attempts to try to discredit the miracle, the messenger, and the religion. Because you're stuck with sunnah, you're stuck with hadith, you're stuck with saying Muhammad's the last messenger, you're stuck with adding Muhammad to your shahada, right? All these things you're stuck with. So if you concede these points, then it's over. So you're gonna have to desperately say, "Oh well, Rashad, he didn't include this in this data set, and this wasn't there, whatever." It's like we have hundreds of proofs, and you're gonna say, "Well, look, one of them is invalid." Not even one of these criticisms is valid.
No.
I
Go ahead. That's just what
disagree.
it is. I just
But
hope everyone's paying attention and learns. Go ahead.
the reason I said it's not constructive is also I clearly believe, right, that you are coping by trying to find any zip code, and I think you're trying to find 19 anywhere, right? And I've seen it. I've seen people do it. You
Everywhere.
know the people that do it. Exactly, exactly. Once you start seeing a number, it shows up every possible
Good. So
place.
do this.
Meaning,
So I have a challenge
Yeah,
for you.
we
God's
just
Do this.
number.
Naveed,
Do this for the
I'm
number
almost
7.
done speaking,
Do
Naveed.
this.
Naveed,
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
almost
Finish
done
your point.
speaking.
Yeah,
I'm
go
almost
ahead.
done
Go ahead. Finish
speaking.
your point.
And yeah, and this, so just let me finish the point, bro. So, but I'm saying it's not constructive because if you just want to ask me not to speak about this, then I will, you know. But it's not constructive to say, oh, this is what you're doing. Well, let's just evaluate the evidence.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is the number 11.
Rich, may I say something about this?
Yeah,
Peace be upon you.
I just want to say one thing, response specifically to what he said, then you can talk. Okay, one thing. The likelihood of finding the number of 11 is almost twice as much as finding multiples of 19. Okay? So it should be much easier, about 10% likelihood of finding a random number being a multiple of 11 versus multiple of 19. So if you can show me equal or more instances of the number 11 being in some kind of meaningful, coherent occurrences, multiples of 11, then you have something. But there's a reason it's only been found for number 19, not for 11, not for 9, not for 13, not for 17. None of these numbers, we found anything. It's number 19. Oh, and guess what? The Quran mentions the number 19. Oh, and then guess what? It's in the chapter called The Hidden Secret. Oh, and guess what? Right? It says 19 has these functions. These are not coincidences. If you're saying, well, we're just random picking, we're mixing data sets, we're just picking and choosing. We like this one here, we like that one there. Okay, so do it for the number 11. You should find tons of them. No one's found it. This is a deliberate design by God. It's undeniable. Go ahead, homie.
I've shared an article. I've shared an article that someone else wrote.
Yeah, where did you share the article? Peace, brother Abdullah.
Yeah,
Peace upon you.
I'm saying, would you consider it to be valuable? Would you evaluate it objectively?
Yes,
If the number
of
is 7
course.
there?
The
Okay,
number 7 in the Quran.
I'm
Yeah,
saying for everybody
sure.
else
Show
too.
me.
If it's useful for you, you can evaluate it. Someone claimed
I think
that the number of 7 shows up in all
refuted.
types of miraculous ways.
Yeah, we've already refuted number
Oh, okay.
7. Yeah, we already have an article that refutes that.
I'm looking to read that as well, but
Good.
this article, if people want, there are other people that have claimed other numbers. But the point that I want to get to is not whether the Quran is a miracle or not. That was already true, right? Because Allah tells us it's His book. So I don't know why there's ever been a question of whether
No.
or not the Quran
The
is a
debate
miracle.
is about whether code
So
19 is
the
true.
actual
Because
yes,
if code
I
19 is true,
understand. Navid,
it necessitates
honestly, Navid,
Reshard being a messenger.
this is why Navid, I kindly request that I could just speak for a moment to Brandy or anyone else, because honestly, Navid, you just don't have the respect for me to engage with you. It's really difficult, and we've done this a lot. I don't want to do it again, right? Like it's been at least a dozen times that you and I have done this. It's impossible to talk. I get it. I'm challenging your position, but you guys should be sound in your position. You should be solid in your position. You should give me all the time in the world to express all of my confusion and misunderstanding and doubts, so that one by one, systematically, you can clarify it for me, so that I could walk away enlightened the way you are. It sounds like you're sort of trying to protect something, right, from anybody saying it's wrong. It just appears that way.
No,
And I think the
I want
people
to
listening,
address.
it appears that way as well.
Every point. You
Okay.
make any
So let me
claim or
so let me
statement
make
you
the point
want,
then.
and then let me address it.
Yes, yeah. So here's the statement that I made. Okay, I said that the count of the name of Allah in the Quran. Allah revealed that this miracle is incorrect.
Yeah, I mean, again, no one's swayed by that particular position that you're taking. Everyone here believes it's
Wait,
reasonable to not include the unnumbered verses. Does anyone else here contest that? There's 20 people
tell me
here.
why. If I'm looking for the count of the name of Allah, there
Yeah,
could not be anything more important in
yeah,
the Quran, the book that He
yeah.
revealed. Because I want you to clarify for everybody, what is your particular understanding, right, about the unnumbered and numbered? Are they both Quran, or is one of them
Yeah,
Quran
it's all
and the
Quran.
other is the
Yeah,
words that? Okay, so
yeah.
meaning they are the words of Allah. Yes.
I think I've explained myself like 10 times on this. You're the only one that's not convinced, and
So in
not
the
everyone's
Quran,
meant to
what
be
you believe.
convinced. Everyone else is here is
That's okay,
convinced.
Navid. I'm not asking you to convince me. I'm asking you to
So,
consider what's
but
being
I've
presented.
given a satisfactory answer for myself and everyone else here. Just because it's not a satisfactory answer to you doesn't mean it's wrong. You don't like my answer. I get it. But guess what? Everyone else does.
Let me see if I understand your position, Navid.
Not every answer is
I'll
going to
wait for you
equally
again.
satisfy. Yeah, not every answer is going to equally satisfy everyone. But I'm
I'm
happy.
not-
I'm grateful that everyone else is satisfied with the response I gave. You're not.
Alhamdulillah. Beautiful, beautiful. So I'm just trying to make sure I understand that in the book of Allah, the counting of His name, what Reshard Khalifa tells you should count and you shouldn't count.
This is the proof of the greatest miracle, number 19. There is many proofs. One of them, the number of God, of name God in the Quran. So I don't understand the problem.
That I'm trying to count, Mila, right? This Quran, right? This Quran that the Muslims have had for 1400 years. Someone told me, oh, some ayahs are wrong, and he removed them. So then I took the book that he that he gave. Book that is a multi.
Did you count it, the word God?
Yes, Mila. Yes, and I posted the link. I'll post the link again for anyone who wants to count it. It's on his own website. It's based on his own count.
And what? It's
Is
not
that I can only count the name of Allah in the Quran when Reshard Khalifa tells me these are the verses that should be counted in.
And what had happened?
Problem with that is, right, because the problem with that is he recognizes, as Navid does, that the Quran, the word of Allah, who was sent to all of humanity, right, more times the name of Allah in the Bismillah, but he's telling me don't count it there. Okay, now I don't have a problem. If you can establish that he's a messenger, then I can accept whatever he gives. The problem here now is that in order to establish that he's a messenger, I have to verify what his claims are. If his claims are wrong, I can't just assume he's a messenger and then accept whatever he gives me. There's a circular problem there, right? You have to accept him as the messenger for the claims to be true. There's no objective way to evaluate it independently. Uh, 19. Do you agree with this fact?
What? From the first surah to the 19th
to the
surah,
20th, to the 20th, to the 20th surah of the Quran, from the first to the 20th, there are exactly 19 unnumbered basmalah.
No, there's 18.
That's what I said.
You said 19. There's 18.
The 20th.
Yeah. You want to count them together?
The 20th. You know, and I know that there are 19 unnumbered basmalahs.
No, there's 18. Do you want to
The
count them?
Fatiha has a number. No, the Fatiha has a number. There are
Okay.
19 basmalahs, not unnumbered. There are 19 basmalahs from the first to the 20th.
Okay, so you have to change it.
Yes, correct. I'm going to tell you a lot more 19s, right? From the 20th, or let's say the 21st to the 39th, there are also 19 basmalahs.
What's the significance? Yeah, so what's the significance of the 20th chapter?
I'm just telling you that there are more counts of 19 that you haven't discovered.
No. But you have to provide some kind of significance to them. So what's the meaning of, like, is chapter 20 special in some way? Like, what's the significance of stopping there?
Well, Allah made it the 20th, right?
I don't.
He gave it that significance.
This is
Anyway,
not a.
so, go ahead, brother.
No, I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. This is actually really funny. So Allah made the 20th chapter the 20th. Why? Because there's 19 chapters before. Like, what are you saying? Like
Exactly, equalizer. That's exactly what I'm saying.
No, not exactly. No,
that's how arbitrary it
you're
is.
saying something, but you're not. It's not arbitrary. It's not arbitrary at all. For example, when you have Surah 9 missing Bismillah, and then 19 surahs later you have the additional Bismillah. You know what I mean? And the number of surahs between that one and that one is multiple of 19 as well. So that's actually providing some type of significance, not just 19 comes after 20 or 19 is before 20. So therefore,
it's even more basic. It's even more
actually
basic.
Equalizer. I'm going to
Brother
give you
Reshard,
you don't understand.
may I say something, guys? Peace be upon you all. May I say something, Brother Reshard? Peace be upon you. Let me help you. Let me help the argument here. All right. The best way to say, which you said, arbitrary, but this is not arbitrary. You could use the word random. That is totally applicable to mathematics and the claim
that it's
of
random.
Mathematics.
It's
I
said arbitrary, right? Because I wanted to say arbitrary. Those are two different things.
Okay, say arbitrary, no problem. And I say random, and I'm going
They're
to.
Not the same thing.
Well, arbitrary was the numbers you're mentioning, right? I'm just saying, Surah 20th. Why is it Surah 20th? Because it comes out of 19. Look, the best way you want to tackle this is to say these number 19 and your calculations occur randomly, right? And I'm going to help you with that argument to help everyone else here as well. Okay? My claim is it's random, so I cannot trust it. So we go through what does random mean? Right? Random
Random
means
means-
there's a chance, right?
I don't agree that it's random. I don't know who you're making the argument to. I don't believe anything.
No,
in
no.
what
I'm just trying to help you not accepting. I'm just going through, just saying why.
It's not a good argument. I don't agree with you that it's a good argument.
No, well,
Brother homie, with all due respect, he doesn't need your support. He has Satan's full backing for not accepting.
no. It's not support.
He doesn't need more. He doesn't need more
No,
support.
no,
I'm going to show
very simple,
the reason
brother
why
homie.
God.
Brother.
No, look, I want to say this. That's why it is the case that
Brother
the
homie.
structure, mathematical
Brother-
structure, of the Quran, the way it is, and he uses number
Brother
19
homie,
for that
brother
structure.
homie, listen to me. Brother homie is very simple, okay? He's saying it's arbitrary. When I say the most repeated sentence, the opening statement is 19 letters, there's a reason why it's 19. I'm not pointing at a random verse in the Quran. There's 6,000 verses in the Quran. Oh, by the way, look at chapter 23, verse 62. Oh, that's 19 letters. No, that's how he's portraying it. I'm saying, look, the opening statement of the Quran, the most repeated statement in the Quran is 19 letters. Oh, and it's repeated 114 times. And that's significant. He doesn't know how to distinguish between these two scenarios. That's what he just demonstrated to us. Right? That's really the
Good
problem.
point, Navid.
And Elham called
This
him
is
out
a good
for
point,
it. That's
Navid.
really what it came down to.
Let me speak to this arbitrary point.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the Quran is arbitrary, right? Because
No.
Allah
You
showed-
said the counting systems are.
I know,
Stop
Navid.
talking. You said the
Navid,
counting is
I just
arbitrary.
started talking after you finished.
Yeah, and
Why
you
are
made
doing
an
this again,
invalid
bro?
point. And you made an
I
invalid point that needs to
just
be
started
addressed.
talking about what I said. How are you
No
telling me
one
it's an
said the
invalid point?
Quran's arbitrary, dude. What are you
I
talking
didn't
about?
say that. I didn't say that. I'm saying what I said, Navid. You got to let me speak. Otherwise, just tell me I won't speak at all. You see, it just doesn't work like this, Navid. I waited for you to finish. I waited for him to finish. And I didn't finish one sentence and you interrupted me. I am not claiming that the Quran is arbitrary. What I am claiming is that how to determine what the counts are is a system that does not have a pattern. And I can demonstrate that over and over.
And I address you. Look, you saying one sentence or saying 5 sentences isn't changing anything. You're making the same raw false premise, false point. I never
What's my
said
premise?
what you're saying. Yeah. Your premise is the ways
Steel man
we're
my
getting
position,
the
Navid.
ways we're getting yes, you're saying the ways we're getting 19s are arbitrary. And I'm saying no. Counting the letters of the most significant sentence of a book is not arbitrary. Inherently it's not. Right? You can't accept that. Because if you accept enough of these, then you're forced to accept the code exists. So that's why you have to portray it the way you just did with Elham.
Let me ask you,
Oh.
Navid. Is every
Yeah.
surah in the Quran significant or arbitrary?
Yes, that's why there's 114 of them, and that's 19 times 6.
Each surah
Is
has
that arbitrary?
a multiple of 19.
Doesn't
Does
need
each
to.
surah have a
Doesn't need
multiple of
to.
19 words? Okay.
Doesn't need to. Not necessary. It's an unnecessary condition, unnecessary threshold. So this is you setting arbitrary conditions. That's what you're doing right now.
So let me ask
We
Navid,
just have to show the main parameters of the Quran are based on multiples 19. That's undeniable. Number of chapters, number of verses, specific words, opening statement, first revelation, last revelation, most repeated. Is the first revelation not 19 letters, 19 words?
that the number of verses in the Quran is not a multiple of
Fine,
19.
you want to dispute that one because you accept the fake verses. No problem.
No, not on that grounds. That's
The
one
first,
ground. but not on that ground.
okay. The first chapter revealed, is it not significant that it's 19 verses? This is not arbitrary. This is what I mean.
So
It's
you know
not
what's
arbitrary.
interesting, Navid? Are you going to accept the evidence that that's the first chapter revealed?
Is it disputed?
You're going to accept that as valid evidence that's been transmitted? Are you certain about it?
I mean, it's generally accepted as the first revelation, and I accept that.
Your position really well. The reason you accept it is not because of the reason you accept it is not because of the historic sources. The reason you accept it is because your messenger told you it's the first verse.
Yeah,
Even
you
if he
confirm
didn't
the
say that,
fact.
even if he didn't say that, what is generally accepted to be the first revelation has 19 words. To me, that's significant. Even if there's a chance that it's not, right? The fact that everyone's saying, hey, this is the first thing Muhammad got. Oh, it's 19 words. Hey, guys, this is the last thing Muhammad got. Hey, that's also 19 words. Hey, the first chapter revealed to him is 19 verses. And the first revelation, 76 letters, 19 times 4. Oh, the whole chapter that is 304, 19 times 16. The opening verse, the opening statement of the Quran, most repeated verse. These are not arbitrary parameters. This is where you're struggling. You're not able to distinguish between an arbitrary parameter and a non-arbitrary parameter. And I guess something that's fueled this fire, unfortunately, is people that are making arbitrary determinations, and you're focusing on that, but you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Because you've seen some people that are affiliated with Code 19 or attempt to be affiliated with Code 19 making arbitrary calculations. So then you're saying, well, look, that means everything these guys are saying, including all the claims that Reshard made about the number 19, they're all arbitrary. Because if you accept that it's not arbitrary, then we're going to go down a different path. Right? That's why you had to debate even Basmala being 19 letters. Then eventually, all right, fine, I concede, but it's still arbitrary. This is the problem. You have a fundamental paradigm problem here. And I'm hoping this whole thing is mostly for Brandy. I hope you realize what he's been doing this whole time, Brandy.
Navid, so I could speak for myself instead of you telling me what I'm doing. Okay? Paying attention or
I'm just more
About it?
convinced.
yeah.
But can I fix your mic? Your mic's broken.
Yes.
Fix your mic.
I'm trying to explain the difference here, right?
We can't hear you well. Your mic's broken. Fix your mic. In the meantime, let me talk to Haitha. What's up, bro? Haitha. Peace, bro.
Bro,
Can you hear me?
Peace.
Yeah, it sounds broken. Let's talk to Haitha real quick. Haitha wants to make a... Haitha
Navid?
wants to...
Okay, so let me just address this point, Navid, before you try to jump off. You said a lot of stuff about me, and I waited for you, no matter, even though you were saying false things about me. So let me finish. Let me say about myself what I'm presenting here, okay? When I say arbitrary, it's because it is unclear what the method is. Okay, now the method here appears to be subjective, as in one person determines when the rule applies and when it doesn't. If there is a consistent objective method, then all of us can see it obviously. But first, I want to be clear. I would like you to present what exactly the claim is about 19. Okay, and here's the different views that I've heard. So Navid, you're the imam here. You're the one that knows the most about Reshard Khalifa. So clarify for me. One person said it might be that it validates even how to say the letters like a-e-u. Another person said it validates all the letters of the Quran. Somebody else said it validates all the words. Somebody just said it validates the numbers, ayahs, and surahs. I don't know what the official position is. Does Code 19, right? What does Code 19 evaluating the letters or the words or the ayahs?
Okay, I can answer this. I'm going to put it in VC1-chat. Okay? Supervisor Dolphin saying to reject it. One of the great miracles is 7435. The Quran is characterized by a unique phenomenon never found in any human-authored book. Every element of the Quran is mathematically composed. The surahs, the verses, the words, the number of certain letters, the number of the same root, the number and variety of divine names, the unique spelling of certain words, the absence or deliberate alteration of certain letters within certain words, and many other elements of the Quran. Besides its content, there are two major facets of the Quran's mathematical system. One, the mathematical literary composition, and two, the mathematical structure involving the numbers of surahs and verses. Because of this comprehensive mathematical coding, the slightest distortion of the Quran's text and physical arrangement is immediately exposed. So the way we have to first establish that a code exists using consistent
Is this Reshard
methodology.
Khalifa's writing?
Yes, it is Reshard Khalifa's writing.
Okay, where is this posted?
Appendix 1. It's posted in VC1-chat.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for the first thing we need to do is establish that a system based on the number 19 exists in the Quran. That's very easily ascertainable with the Quranic initials. Okay? The Quranic initials are prefixed 29 chapters. So using statistical analysis, if I just show 5 of them, that's very easy. or I guess it's a low number.
'Cause I
It's not
asked one
easy.
question. I'm not asking you to run the whole argument. I'm asking what is the
Yeah,
claim?
it's very
Now
simple.
I have
Yeah,
a specific claim.
I'm
Naveed,
answering your
we answered
question.
question number one.
I'm
This
answering
was
your question.
the
I'm
question
answering
number
your
one was
question.
answered, Naveed.
I'm answering your question very simply. If someone is struggling to find the significance of major parameters of the Quran being multiples of 19, then the best resort, the best resolution to that is using simple yet consistent methodology to establish the foundation for the number 19. That's the role of the Quranic initials. So 29 chapters prefixed with the Quranic initials. Statistically, if I can get more than 2 or maybe even 3, if I get more than 3 out of the 29
Naveed.
to be multiples of 19, then a structure based on 19 definitively exists in the Quran. So if I can establish 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or more than that, I've already dramatically exceeded the threshold for a deliberate design based on number 19. So you can ask ChatGPT, say, hey, what's the likelihood of getting a multiple of 19 with 29 random numbers? That's essentially what this is. And ChatGPT will give you the equation. He would say it has 1 or 2 occurrences is what's expected. Right?
Question I should ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
BT?
What? I cannot, bro. Your sound's broken, Reshard. Your sound's broken. That's why I'm trying to move to another person because your sound keeps breaking down. Haita.
Now I'm back. You said ask ChatGPT, what's the probability? Go on.
Yeah. What's the likelihood? Well, how many? I guess let me put it in a different way. How many multiples of 19 should I expect out of 29 random multiples of 19? How many should I expect to have as multiples of 19? If I have 29 random multiples of 19, how many of these should I expect to have as multiples of 19?
I think your question is malformed, but let me try it. How many multiples of 19 should I expect out of 29 random multiples of 19?
I'm sorry. No. 29 random numbers. They're not multiples of 19.
I'll put it again.
You get
I'll put it
29
again.
random numbers. Yeah, out of 29 random numbers, how many should I expect to see as multiples of 19? There you go.
Let me do it one more time. Because you think ChatGPT is going to save you here. Okay, here's what it says.
Are you using
And look,
ChatGPT?
yes, I'm using ChatGPT right now.
Good.
I like the ChatGPT stuff, okay? So how many multiples of 19 should I expect out of 29 random numbers?
Yes,
Correct?
that's it. Yes.
Random numbers, that's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, out of 29 random numbers.
Yeah. How many do you expect to see as multiples of 19? Yeah, let's go.
Okay, let me see. Okay. To find the expected number of multiples of 19 among 29 random numbers, you can calculate the proportion of numbers that are multiples of 19. Since 19 is a prime number, every 19th number is a multiple of 19. Thus, out of every 19 consecutive numbers, 1 is a multiple of 19. So out of 29 random numbers, you would expect approximately 29 divided by 19, 1.53 multiples of 19. However, since you can't have a fraction of a multiple, you can expect around 1 or 2 multiples of 19 among 29 random numbers.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. You did a really good job there. Honestly, thank you so much. That was fantastic. That was
Okay.
very well, and you answered the data well.
So
And I
let
gave
me
you the
let me explain what my
answer.
yeah. Let me
Exactly the
explain what I
answer that I
understood from it.
expected. I said
Let me
1 or
explain
2.
what I
Yeah,
let
go
me
ahead.
explain. Yeah, let me explain what I understood from it. So 1 or 2 out of 29 is what probability? Let's do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
So
That's exactly right.
Just a second. Let's say 1 divided by 29. Gonna be 29 divided by 1 times 100. Let me clear my calculator. It's good because the funny thing is you're going to go through this process, but I know you're not using probability here. So
I am using probability, and I gave the answer preemptively, and I gave exactly ChatGPT's answer. It's 1 or 2 is the expected number of multiples of 19.
okay,
1
so
or 2.
it's so again we're going to use the decimal places. Let's call it
Yeah.
3.4%.
What are you? I don't
One is
understand. So
one out
there
of
you
29. Hang on a second. Let me just explain to you what statistics, how it works. Okay. So 3.4% of the time. Now, if it's 2, you get 2 divided by 29 equals 6.89. Would that be fair to say 6.7?
What are you saying right now?
Okay, so 1 or 2 out of every 29
Yeah, sure.
is between
Yeah, sure. How does that
3.4
change
and
anything?
6.7%.
Yeah, sure.
I'm explaining something
That's
to you.
fine. That's
You remember
fine.
the?
How does it?
Let me tell you
What does
something,
that?
Navid. I know, Navid.
What
Hang
does
on.
that
Let me just tell
change?
you
I'm
what.
just asking. What
So,
does that
so here I'm
change?
explaining. I'm trying to explain, bro. Right. So you're saying again, if this is a stupid way, then this is Navid what's presenting it. I'm just working through it. So for someone who knows statistics, that means that of every 29 numbers, 3.4 to 6.7% of the time, you will end up with a multiple of 19, which
Hmm.
means probability wise, it is possible, but you could say it's not likely. Correct.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if someone randomly generated numbers,
Hmm.
3.4 to 6.7% of the time, you'd get 1 or 2 multiples of 19.
Right.
So
Correct.
listen to what I just said. If someone randomly generated numbers, you wouldn't end up with
Yeah,
zero. You wouldn't end
I
up with 0
understand.
multiples of 19. You'd end
I
up with
understand.
3.4 to 6.7
Yeah, I
times.
know. I'm the one
Probability is
that.
not helping you here.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Just let me keep going with this. I'm the one that presented this. I know what I know what I'm saying. So out of the 29 initial chapters, we should reasonably expect 1 or 2 of them to be multiples of 19. However, using consistent methodology, right? If I get 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 multiples of 19, there's something going on here. This is
It's not
deliberate
random.
design. It's not
It's not
random
random.
anymore.
Yes, I
Exactly.
agree.
Good,
So you could have
good,
just said that from the beginning because I don't think the Quran
good.
is random.
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about the Quran being random as a whole. I'm saying specifically related to the number 19 and multiples of 19, it's not random. Specifically number 19. If we did the same thing for 11, we wouldn't get it. We've already done this for the other numbers.
Yeah.
In fact,
So I've looked at this, Navid, with you.
we've done all prime numbers between 0 and 100.
Yeah,
None of them, hold on, none of them are statistically significant. None of them. Okay? So when it comes to the other numbers, I'm gonna put this figure in the chat. Let me just put it in VC1 chat. I want everyone to pay attention to this photo, this image
this
that
is
I'm
important.
sharing right here. Okay. So this is all prime numbers between 0 and 100. All prime numbers between 0 and 100. You see the likelihood of them occurring in frequencies based on the 29 random numbers. The only one that sticks out in any way is the number 19. So based on this, we can establish, and so you're gonna, because I know you're always gonna run to noon. It's like, okay, fine, you can have noon, right? You can have 10 more chapters. You can have 15 more chapters. You can have 20 of them. That's fine. That still does not deny
Navid,
equality.
let's make sense of the data that's being presented here. You're just kind of jumping around. You're putting numbers and you think there's something significant there. Let's make sure we understand what's being presented in the numbers. Do you mind if we work through it?
Yes, we're looking at
Okay.
multiples of 19. I'm sorry,
Let me
we're
go
looking
step
at,
by step with you so that,
go for it.
if someone knows statistics of probability, that we should be able to make sense of this. Okay, on the left, the first column is the prime. The second column is n times 1 over the prime. N here being the prime number, correct?
No, n being the number.
Number, okay.
That
So the
means the data
number,
set, the random number. We have 29 random numbers, right? So n would be the random number of each chapter.
the random number of each chapter.
Yeah, the frequency that we're
Please,
dealing with.
please clarify for me what n is. What number is it?
So for
Is it
example, in Surah Yasin, it would be the total of Ya and Sin would be 285. That would be one n. That would be the n. That would be one
285?
instance of n. 285 would be an n here, yes.
So 285 divided by 1 over the prime.
Yeah.
1 over the prime is which surah is being applied here? Because n is going to be one of the surahs.
It's all the surahs.
Again, you just said n is 285. How can n be all of them?
Here, hold on. I have a
Yeah,
I
you
have a
don't understand
spreadsheet
this
for
data
this.
set.
Hold on. I have a spreadsheet for this. No problem.
I've seen the spreadsheet also, but if you don't understand this data set, then it doesn't help to tell everybody, hey, look at the thing that I highlighted in yellow.
We don't even look. We don't even need a spreadsheet. We can just do it manually. You want to do it
Okay,
manually? Let's do it
I'm
manually.
looking at what is this spreadsheet telling me? Why'd you bring it up?
What this
You,
shows,
I'm willing.
what this
Look,
shows
Navid,
is that multiples of 19 occur in these 29 random numbers disproportionately compared to other numbers.
that's your claim. Let's evaluate the numbers here.
Sure, go ahead.
So what is n?
So do you want me to get the spreadsheet or not get the spreadsheet?
In this chart, the number 27 shows up for the first row too.
Right.
Okay,
That's how.
I can guess.
So 27 is the expected outcomes. It's how many you expect to see.
Okay, expect to
Wait,
see. So what is
wait,
n?
wait.
I can
Hold on
work
a
the other
second.
way, right? I
Yeah.
can plug in the equal sign to 27, and then I have to multiply by 1 over the prime, which is half.
I need.
I have to
Yeah.
divide by half to figure out what n is. If I divide that 27 by a half, I'm not going to get an n that makes sense.
Hold on.
Okay, so because the prime number is 2, there's an equation. N times 1 over 2 equals 27,
Okay.
correct?
Here.
Hang
Yeah.
on.
Let me just get
Is
the
that
spreadsheet for
equation
everyone to
correct or
follow
not?
along with. Hold on. Let me just get the spreadsheet for everyone. Let me just get this. I got the spreadsheet open for everybody here. It's on VC1 dash chat. Okay. So let's go to prime divisibility. Okay. That's primes expected divisions. Okay, so yeah. So 15 of them.
Where
So
am I
29
going?
chapter. Yeah, in the link I just put.
I'm on the link. Where should I go? What cell and what sheet?
Oh, go to sheet prime divisibility.
Okay. Which row and column?
Expected
Prime
division.
prime 2, expected division
Yeah,
is 15.
B6. Yeah, B7.
Yeah,
There you go.
B7 is 15,
Yeah.
not
Right.
27.
So the number, yeah. So the number, hold on. So then let me see
Look,
what I can get.
I know it's not your spreadsheet, Navid. We could just drop this right now
No.
because you're not going to be able to explain it. And it's going to
Yeah.
be unfair for everybody for you to just at the end summarize that you're
Yeah.
right.
No. Look,
You
it's
know?
very simple. We can just go off of this sheet right here.
Okay.
Right. So
So forget the
out of
others.
out of
Can you
out of
delete the other picture so people don't get confused?
no, I mean that one's still valid.
I don't know. Yeah, I tried to go through it with you. Now you want to discard that and say, let's talk about this. Every time you present an evidence, I want to go through it in detail.
That's
You just
fine.
want to flush over its surface
Well, hold on.
surface
No.
level. Come on, bro.
The foundational claim that I'm making still stands.
I don't know
Okay.
what that is because I'm looking at the data. You don't know what the
I'm
data
saying,
says.
yeah. What I'm saying is very simple.
I know
Multiples
the
of
claim. Let's look
19.
at the
No,
data.
stop interrupting me. Multiples of 19 occur disproportionately beyond what is the expected outcome for the 29 random numbers. For the number 2, it doesn't. For 3, it doesn't. For all the other prime numbers between 0 and 100, they don't occur in any disproportionate fashion. They occur based on the expected outcome, just like chat. So basically what you did for ChatGPT, that's what it is for all the other numbers. It's the expected outcome, the random chance of these random numbers being multiples of these numbers, given numbers, in the 29 random numbers.
Okay, let's look at the spreadsheet, Navid.
Go for it.
Okay, so you tell me. Prime is 2.
Yeah.
Expected division. What is that?
Yeah. That means out of the 29 chapters, 15 of them are expected to be multiples of 2.
Why?
And because every other number is going to be a multiple of 2. And since there's roughly 30 of them, it's going to be roughly half.
Okay, so it's rounding up to 15 instead of 14 and a half.
Yeah. And the observation is 12, which is not much of a deviation. It's like, okay.
Hang on a second. So observed division.
Yes.
What is that?
So out of the 29 random numbers, 12 of them are multiples of 2.
Out of the 29 random numbers, 12 are multiples of 2.
Yes.
Hang on a second. So the 29 surahs,
Yes.
tell me how you're calculating
Yes.
for Al-Baqarah, Alif, Lam, Mim.
Yes.
How is it a multiple of 2?
Total, 9899. 2 out of the chapter 2 would not be a multiple of 2. So
I'm
we're taking
asking.
the total. We're taking the total frequency.
Total what?
The total frequency of the initial letter within that chapter is what we're doing.
Meaning, this is interesting. So the total frequency of Aleph, Lam, and Mim.
Yes.
Man, bro, it's so frustrating when you guys do this.
I
This is
mean,
not how your
look, but
system. I
here's
know.
the
Listen, hang
problem.
on.
Here's the problem.
This
You
is not how
haven't
your
even.
system works.
Yeah, it is. No, hold on a second. Here's the problem. You haven't even confirmed Qaf, and you're
Just
getting to
give me a
Aleph
second,
Lam Mim.
Navid. Just give
Yeah.
me a second, Navid. I'm trying to make sense of this data set, right?
Yeah.
I'd
Good.
love for these numbers to make sense. So
Good.
the count of two, Aleph, Lam, Mim, you're combining Aleph, Lam, and Mim and getting
Yes.
9,899.
Yes.
Why are you doing that combination?
What do you mean why I'm doing? For all of them, it's consistent. It's just the same approach for all of them.
But
Right?
you and I know
It's.
that this is not. Is this how you count the multiples of 19?
I don't need to.
I'm asking you,
No, no.
what are you talking about?
For
You're
yeah,
using a
for
different
19. No, no,
system
no.
here.
For I'm using the same methodology for all of them. For all the prime numbers, I'm using the same approach. I'm counting how many times it's a multiple of that prime number, just using this approach. Summing
Okay.
the occurrence of the letters within that chapter.
Okay, look,
And
Naveed.
so with
Let me
two, it's 12 of them.
look at column G. Okay?
Okay.
Look at column
Okay.
G. Is
Yeah.
this relevant data or not? Because that's what I'm looking at.
What about column G?
Okay, column G has Aleph Lam Mim, and I
Uh-huh.
understand that there's 29 columns here, right? All of the letters. All of
Yeah.
the surahs. Okay, so there's 29
Yeah.
columns between G and AJ. Okay, so
Okay.
so uh, this is for column G. The first
Uh-huh.
number at the top is the number 2 there means what?
Is the chapter number.
Oh, okay, thank you. The number of 9899 is what?
Total of Aleph Lam Mim.
Okay, the total count of Alif Lam Mim. Okay, so now what is G7?
G7. I'm not sure right now, to be honest with
Yeah, I'm
you.
not sure either. What I would expect in this sheet, in the way it's structured, I would expect G7 to be a yes or no, right? No, it's not a multiple of 19. I'm sorry, no, it's not a multiple of 2. And then
I
the next
think,
G8 would be yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. I don't
yeah.
know
I
what
mean,
that is. Is it a div-
I didn't
Oh, I
make
know
this
what it is.
sheet.
I know what it is. Hang on, I know what it is. I know it's the remainder.
No. Well,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, you're
let me
right.
ask.
Okay, that's
Let
remainder.
me do
Okay,
nine
good,
eight
good,
nine
good,
nine
good, good,
divided. Yeah, let's do 9899.
good, good.
Yeah,
Of
I'm
course.
glad you didn't make it, but I'm helping you learn it, Naveed. If
Okay,
you're going to
good,
use
good.
it as
That's good.
evidence, you better know what it is.
Yeah, 9899 remainder would be 1, and then for yeah, that's fine. But no, but then the problem is
No,
no, it's not a remainder because then you go to the no. Why do you have a remainder on that one? See that? No, that doesn't
exactly.
make sense.
So it's not. So what is that telling me?
Yeah, I don't know that specific column.
I don't know either.
I don't know, but we don't even need to use that. That's my point.
But if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There are 18 ones in row 7 from G to AJ. There are 18 ones. That leaves not 12, that leaves, if I counted correctly, I'll count it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
I don't know what it
13,
is.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There are
Wait, 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 wait,
18
wait, wait, wait,
ones.
wait, 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 wait. These are remainders.
They're not, because
Why are they not?
the remainder of 3 divided by 9899 is not 2.
How do you know that? Well, let's see.
Divide it.
9899 divided by 3.
It's a decimal.
Yeah, it's 2/3. That's correct. It is a remainder. It's 3299.666, which is 2 out of 3. That's the remainder. That's what the remainder is 2. That's correct.
2 out of 3 is not the number 2
66.
here.
66%.
The
2
number
out of 3.
66,
Dude,
no, it's not
dude.
66%, it's 0.66.
Yeah,
The
which is
number 2 is not equal to 0.66.
It's not the number 2, dude. Just use an online calculator.
Column
That's the
G.
remainder. Wait,
Hang
look,
on.
look.
I'm looking at it.
Long division with remainder. Here you go. I'm just gonna do it with the remainder calculator.
Okay, yeah. If I'm doing it wrong, you're right. The decimal will not give us the remainder. You're right.
Yeah, it's 0.66. That's literally that's what it is.
No,
It's correct.
0.66 is not 2. Let's do the
That,
let's do
it's 2
long division
point. Listen
calculator.
to me. 0.66 is 2 out of 3,
I know 0.66 is 2 out of 3.
and that's
I
what
know
that
that.
is,
The number 2 is equal to 2 out of 3.
bro. It's 0.66
Let's do long
equals
division,
2 out
Navid.
of 3.
Look, Navid,
Dude,
I
I
have a
did the long
whiteboard.
division. Listen. You're really
Okay,
making this
okay.
complicated. You're
If it's
making this
good, Navid,
complicated.
I just
It's not
haven't
that
done long
hard.
division in a while. Let me try it out myself, okay?
Here you go. Yeah,
Let
here
me
you
do
go.
it. Yeah.
I'm putting in the chat. These are
Just
the
so I can
remainders. You did a
refresh
good
my
job.
just so
You
I can
did a good
refresh my
job.
long
Here, it's in
division.
the chat. It's in the
It might
chat.
be right. It might be right.
Just
It's
check
fine.
the chat. Long division
I
with
accept it.
remainders. Here you go. Remainder
I
of
learned
2. There
long
you
division a
go.
long time ago. Let me just try it out.
Oh my god.
That's fine. I trust that the calculator is correct. So let's see. See if I remember my long division. 3 and 9 is 3. 0, 8. 3 and 8 is 2. 6. 2. 3 and 29 is 9. 27. 2, 9. Man, you're gonna run into something funny. 9 again. Yeah, 27. Okay, 2. So the remainder is 2. Okay, so these are remainders.
Thank you. Thank
Okay, so
you.
these are
I'm
okay,
glad
no
we were
problem.
able to establish
So
it.
these
I
are
need to know this
remainders.
for future.
So
Yeah, they are.
anytime, this is good. So anytime there's a number there, right, the remainder means that it's not a multiple. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. The remainder means it's not a multiple. So
That's
that
right.
means whenever there's a 0, it is a multiple.
No, yes. Yes.
Yes.
And if you look on 19, they're a bunch of zeros.
Not all of them. Not all of them are zeros.
Yeah, they don't need to be all. It just needs to be
Give me a
statistically
second, bro.
significant.
Okay, so first of all, the count that I counted of the ones, right? I'm going to count the zeros now for number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Reshad, when
5,
are you gonna
6,
verse me in
7,
chess?
8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, okay, so observed
When?
divisibility is 12. You should. I'll copy this over so I can explain to you what's happening. So now I get what's happening. So who is that?
Me.
What's your score in chess?
Oh, my highest is 1885. Let's see who's better.
Your score is 1885.
Yeah, my highest score. So you wanna verse me?
Bro, you're way out of my league. You're like almost a grandmaster.
No, I'm not almost a grandmaster, but still, let's see.
Yeah, we should play. That'll be fun. I appreciate that someone recognized it.
Yeah, 1400 blitz. I see that.
Oh, does it show the whole picture? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you recognize the blitz too. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to play chess anytime. So
Yeah.
right now I'm sort of checkmating Navid, and he's struggling a little bit. So Navid's chess score is not that high. It's okay. I'm messing with you, Navid.
He's not good at
Yeah.
chess. He's not.
So this is what I understand from this distribution now. Okay, the spreadsheet, and it's good for you because I'm gonna explain it to you. You don't have you and I have to agree on what the data is here. We don't have to agree on what the conclusion is. Okay, but here's what the data says. The data says that the probability observed. Probability observed. How are you calculating the now? So now we know what column A is. We know what column B is. We know what column C is. How are you calculating the probability observed?
So all the zeros are counted, and that would give you 12.
Yes, that's observed division.
Yeah, so it'll be
Yeah.
12 zeros. Yeah, so that's good.
Okay.
Good.
So I'm asking, what's the next column? D. Probability of. I can't read the rest of it.
It's probability of observed event. It's just
So what
the
is that
equation.
doing?
It's just the equation.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of the equation. Is it saying that for the 29 instances, if 12 of them are occurring, the probability wouldn't be this really small number here. What am I missing from this equation?
I don't know how to get that equation.
I don't either. So odds of event makes more
No,
sense.
wait. We got a data analyst here. Said.
Wait a second. Odds of events.
Wait, he's gonna tell
Go ahead,
us.
go ahead.
Said, are you
Go ahead.
familiar with this table?
I know binomial distribution. I don't need a table, but yes.
Okay, so well, can you open the spreadsheet though? We're trying to make sense of this. But I mean, yeah, sure, we can talk about binomial distribution
Where
as
is
a
it?
whole. Yeah, the table's in the chat.
And
Just scroll up. It's a Google Doc.
Navid, I have a lot of things to say about the analysis of this conversation, but I want to get to the bottom of the data first. But it's fascinating to me that you're going to present this as evidence, and you were so bold about it, but you don't even know what the data is.
I do know the data. The data is
PC
very
Pioneer,
clear.
What's up? What's up? What are
PC
we talking
Pioneer.
about
Yeah, it's
today,
very
Navid?
simple. It's very simple. We examined all prime
Okay,
numbers
C.
between 0 and
What's C?
100. Yeah, it's very
I'm
simple.
asking what's column D? How do I calculate that?
It's irrelevant what column D is.
Why is it that?
I don't need column D to make my point.
I don't know what column D is, bro. You have it here in the table.
Bro, I'm
Can I
sorry.
not understand the data?
This is not my table. This is
column
not a
D
good
is the
faith.
binomial
Because I don't
distribution
know.
based on
'Cause
the.
I don't-
I'll explain because
Go ahead.
I'm reading it. So column D is the probability that that amount of instances is observed. So, for example,
Yes.
this is
First-
showcasing prime, right?
Yeah, number 2. Let's take that. Column 7. Sorry, row 7. The
Sure.
prime 2, its expected
And then
division
row
is
one.
15.
Right.
Right, half of the time it would occur. I don't know how you're getting that, actually.
No. It's 12 out of 15 possibilities.
That's the actual count, yes.
So, for example, if you were
12
counting,
out of 29.
not this count. This is 15 divisibility.
What is column D? Where is that? I can't even find it.
It's on second sheet, prime divisibility.
Yeah.
On
So
the
that-
Google Docs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first is the expected occurrence, right? So if you have 2 dices and you're throwing 2 dices, the sum of the 2 dices, what's the likelihood of an occurrence, right? And then the sum of all the possible occurrences are the sum of all the numbers of the dice, meaning you can get up to 12 in 2 dice scenario.
This is probability of observation, right?
Yes. So the
Yeah, I mean,
observed
this is
division
how
is your
what is
target.
there to talk about? What do you
He-
not
he's-
understand, Reshard? I can explain that way. Yo. What the? Yo, I can't disconnect this. Yo, Reshard, are you talking?
No, I'm waiting, actually. I couldn't hear. The person was explaining what column D is.
Yeah,
Bro,
and I
it's just
got
probability
hijacked.
of observation. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. You can explain.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, if we have, let's say the number, let's
Number
say
2.
we toss a coin. Yeah, let's say we toss a coin twice, right? And instead of 2, what is the chance that, for example, that both times when we toss a coin, we get heads? Is 1/4. That's the probability of observation of this
Correct.
specific event.
If you do it
And that's, I think,
sequentially.
what he's talking about.
If you do
Yeah,
it
I think that's.
sequentially.
I mean, I'm not even sure it has to be sequential, but
For a coin, yeah, that's what you're calculating. For you to get 2 heads, it's 1/4. Each time you flip it, it's 1/2.
It doesn't have to be sequentially, though. What are you talking
I
about?
don't
For you to
think it
get
has
2
to be
heads,
We don't care. We can
right.
just look at the total out of 100 total times.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to
That's
be
fine. Yeah, it
sequentially.
doesn't have to be
Doesn't have
sequentially.
to.
Correct. It doesn't have to be sequentially. What I meant was that in total, this is the number you'd expect. Yes, correct.
Yes, exactly. This is the chance. This is the chance to see the specific event, right? Same thing with
Yes.
the divisibility of prime numbers, right? If I give you 2 random numbers, I ask you, what is the chance that both of these numbers are divisible by the number 13? You would say 1/13 raised to the power 2. That is the probability of observation of this
Yes.
specific event.
Yes.
Okay, that should settle it.
No, I'm trying to understand what it settles. Oh,
No, you said you
here,
don't know what
here,
it is. I
what
explained
is
to
the
you what it
equate?
is.
Okay, so what am I? Tell me the formula that derives this particular cell, D7, from the data
D
here. It's work. Is it working off of data or something else? Is it data from this table or
D7.
somewhere else?
It says expected
D7.
division.
No, D7 probability of.
Yes, wait a second. So we have the number 2 out of the set 30. The sample size is 30, you see?
Yes.
So it's saying out of 30, what is the chance that, we
It will
get
be a multiple of 2.
yeah, for example. So it would be say 15. Expected division is 15, but observed division is 12. Now, what is the chance for this? It was just calculated.
So I know, Sajjad, I'm trying to make sense of each of these columns, okay? When you say expected division, I don't know why it's expected. Is that just saying that 1 out of every 30 numbers is a multiple of 2? That's what
No,
that's
no,
saying,
no.
right?
1 out of 2 numbers, right? Half of the 30 numbers are supposed, like, we expect half of the 30 numbers to be divisible by 2, right? If I give you 30 random
Yes,
numbers,
yes, that's what I said.
that's what it is saying. Yeah, that's
Yes,
what it's
yes. So
saying.
expected, so which doesn't make sense because
Why not?
let me explain why, okay?
Wait,
I'm
how
not
many would
looking at
you
a data
expect to be
set. Hang
multiples?
on a
How many
second.
would you expect to be
Hang on a
multiples
second.
of 2?
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Right. So this particular expected division is on numbers between 0 and 30. Let me think about this for a second. Right. If I take a data set between 100 and 1,000, right, I'm expecting that same division. Is that correct?
Yeah.
On any set of numbers, right, I expect half of them to be divisible by 2.
Yes. I mean, given
Yes.
that we're talking about only natural numbers,
Correct.
or even, yeah, I mean, if we talk about like real numbers and stuff, like that's obviously not what we're talking about. Anyway,
Yes.
go ahead.
So on any given set of numbers, right? Every other number is 2. That makes sense. On any given set of numbers, 10, like 1/3 of the time, it's divided by 3.
1/3 of the time is divisible by 3.
It's divisible by 3. Yes. On
Yeah.
any data set, 1/6 of the time, it's divisible by 5.
No, it's supposed to be 1/5. Oh
1/5
yeah.
of the
Also, yeah.
time,
Sorry, my bad. My bad.
1/6.
One
Yeah,
over
yeah.
five times 36. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
On any given data set, 1 out of 15 times. No. Yeah, it's just saying. Yeah, I mean, the first 2
Reshad,
numbers
this is
here.
easy. Reshad,
Then
come on.
hang on.
This
I
is
get the
easy.
first 2
You
numbers.
un-
I get the first 2 numbers. Now I'm going to map it to the first 2 numbers is not a problem. You have a list of primes. And then you have
Okay.
out of 30, like how often you think that number will show up, the
Yes.
probability of that number. Okay, that's
Yeah.
normal. The next number is observed division, right? But there's no, I'm trying to, again, I'm really trying to make sense of this. I saw this a while ago. It's the same problem I ran into last time. Nobody ever clarified. What is the connection, right, between every number between 1 and 30 being half of the time being a multiple of 2, and the set of numbers that I have here, which are the total count of the broken letters in the entire surah? What's the relationship between these 2 points?
Between the prime numbers we've set here, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13.
Yeah, look, let me, I'm going to say both the columns for you. Then you tell me how I'm bridging the connection, okay? Column B says that in any given set of numbers n, the expected division is number, right, divided by n as a probability,
Yes.
right? So number is 30. 2 is the thing that I'm dividing 30 into, and I
Yeah.
get 15. Okay,
Yep.
this makes sense. This is how numbers are divided.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When I say observed division, right, 12 times out of 30 times, I end up with a number that is divisible by 2. Correct?
Sorry guys, I have to go somewhere. I'll be back as
No
soon as
problem.
possible.
Let me help you. Let me help
Yeah,
you, brother.
just quickly, I'm getting to this third column now, right? It's not saying out of any random set of numbers, right? How often will it be divisible by 2? It's saying in this particular set, how many of them are divisible by 2?
Correct.
Yes.
Out of 15 sets that are even in the 30 sets presented, 12 of them are divisible by 2.
Yeah, out of the 30 sets that are presented, 12 of them are divisible by 2.
Not out of 30, out of 15 sets that are divisible by 2.
No.
So,
See,
so the original set is 30, right?
I know,
And
no. So
only
this
15
is
of
the
them are
problem.
divisible by 2.
This is the problem. No, that's not the case. The number 30 that we have here
I
is really
guarantee you
important.
it's the case.
Hang on
But
a
go on,
second.
explain your point.
Let me, yeah. If I'm misunderstanding, you can clarify for me. Okay, so I'm working through this. So the sample size 30. In one case, our data set is the set of numbers between 1 and 30. In another instance, our data set is the set of the counts from each of these surahs. 98, 99. So if you look at column, if you look at row 3.
Forget column G for now. Let's
No,
focus on column B.
yes, column B, I understand, right? Any
I know you
given,
do.
the numbers between 1 and 30, half of them are divisible by 2. That makes sense.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Do you
The
understand why the
numbers,
column C is 12?
I also understand why column C is 12. That's because in a different data set, namely the data set that is from row 3, G to AJ, column G to column AJ. In this
Yes.
data set, it happens to be 12, that 12 numbers are divisible by 2.
Correct.
Okay, so I understand the numbers here. Okay, to me, right, there's no correlation because I could give you another data set that has all the numbers too,
Uh-huh.
right? So then that would be 100% of the data set would have 2. It wouldn't be 12, it would be 30 numbers that have 2. Or I can give you a data set that has all even numbers.
Yeah, but if the series is n plus 1, that's impossible.
I
For any
agree.
series,
Exactly. In the second series that we're talking about is not an n+1 series. The first series is. For column B, that's how all of those probabilities are counted.
yes, column B is presenting out of the 30 sets, how many of them are divisible by that prime number, and it's 15. So it's trying to choose an upper limit for the binomial distribution.
I have no problem with B. I'm asking column C,
So
right? The data set we're using in column C is based on something specific. It's the total count of each surah when you combine the letters, however many broken letters there are. Alif, Lam, Mim, or Noon, or whatever it is.
sure. It's
Say
saying
again?
12 out of 15 are divisible.
Not 12 out of 15.
12 out of 15.
No, it's saying
No, for number 2, it's 12 out of 30.
12 out of 30.
Actually, it's 12 out of 29, to be fair.
That's
Yeah, I
fine.
don't know why
I'm okay
I
with
don't
that.
know
Leave
why
that point for a
it's
moment.
30,
Leave that
but
point
yeah,
for a
fine.
moment. That's fine. That's not going to change anything here. 12 out of 30 from the second data set, which is row 3, those numbers from column G to column AJ.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. It's 12 out of 30 that is divisible by 2. So it's 12 choose 30 in
Yeah.
the binomial distribution at the
This data
probability
set,
of 50%.
yeah. The probability is 50%. Where are you getting that?
So in the binomial distribution, you need 3 factors. You need the target distribution. So if we're talking about 2 coins, what's the probability I will get 1 heads in 2 tosses, right?
Okay.
Whether it's in series or not. So in one instance, it's tails, tails. Another instance is tails, head. Another instance is heads, tails. And the final instance is head, head.
Yes.
So 3 of the instances presents at least 1 heads.
Okay, let's do this, right? Here is what I think this is trying to show. Okay? What it's trying to show is that, let's say you and me, right? You and me are saying we're going to flip a coin. But I'm going to say, hey, I have a special power. When I flip coins, I can make it show up heads more times than tails. Right? So when you flip, naturally you're going to flip with your finger, you're going to get almost 50%. So that's mostly what you end up with. Correct?
Yeah, with infinite flips, I will get 50%. That's the
Yes,
theory
yes,
anyway.
exactly. Yes, that's why this is probability distribution. Now right, I don't show you what I'm doing, but secretly in the background, I have a coin flipper that could land heads 100% of the time. Not secretly. I mean, it's
Sure,
not supposed to be. It's not a magic trick. The point
sure.
is, I could make 100. I could make 30 out of 30 heads show up, and then you would say, look,
Absolutely.
100% of the time, 100% of the time, you made heads show up. Or I could tell you, look, I have a technique, right? My technique is better than yours, right? So maybe I figured something out. I don't know. Maybe someone has or hasn't. I used to think that I could flip coins, and maybe like if I kept the face up that I didn't want, then I'd end up. But I never did the test itself. Anyway, so that's what I'm trying. That's what this is trying to do. It's trying to say that if in a general set of numbers, when again it's not random numbers, but if I extrapolate it, it's trying to say that in any given 30 numbers, you should expect this type of outcome, right? Any random 30 numbers. But if the outcome is higher, right, then it's not a random. It's not a random set of numbers anymore, right?
More than likely not, correct.
More than likely not. Exactly. So I'm just trying to figure out what the other numbers are, because here you would say, for example, if you're expecting 15 and you get 12, that's lower than the expected. Correct?
Correct.
It's lower by a certain number. So that's not a good distribution set, because you might have accidentally got, I mean, I don't even know what it's telling us there, right? It's lower than the number 2. So someone wasn't intentionally trying to make it end with 2. But now on this row 8, for the number 3, it's higher than the expected.
Yes.
Yes. It's higher by a small number.
Yes.
The rest of them, let's see, what else is higher or lower? Everything else that's lower, let's disregard. Actually, when it comes to the number prime number 11, it's almost double. Right, so that's significant. Let's keep 11 in mind. Let's keep the prime number 3 in mind. The prime number 19, it's like, what, 7 times or 6 times more. Maybe 7 times
No,
more. One
more
and a
than
half.
9, because if it was
More
2,
than 9,
then
sorry. I'm looking at it the
yeah,
wrong end. Yes, correct. More than 9 times
yeah.
more. That's a big difference. I agree. The rest of them is all, actually, let's see. I have to calculate each of these, but 0 is not going to get me anything, right? So I can only do the ones that have 1. For the 0.7, the 1, for the prime number 43, it's higher. For the prime number 47, it's higher. For the prime number 83, what is this? It's 4
At
times,
least
maybe 5 times higher.
at least 5.
Yeah. So now on about 4 or 5 numbers, it's either a little bit more, like a percentage, or double, or triple, or quadruple, or all the way up to 9 times higher, let's say.
Mm.
Is 9 times higher a fair number? Maybe it's 10 times higher.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we
Yeah.
can just do quickly. 18 divided by 1.5 is 11.39. So
Oh,
let's
let's
call
call
it
it 12.
11.
Okay,
Yeah,
11.
sure. 12, 11.
I thought
Fine.
you said 9.3. You said 3.9. So yeah, we have to
No,
round fairly.
I said at least 9, because if it was 2, it's 9 exactly.
No. When you said you actually did the math. When you said 0.39, in my head, I thought you said 0.93. So
Oh,
that's
sorry.
why I rounded up, you rounded down. You're doing the correct rounding. Irrespective, it's more than the others, right? 12 times more, 11 times more is more than 5 times more. But what I'm showing here, at least from what I see from this data set, is yes, 19 in this set of counts is more likely than a few of the other primes, but some of the other primes are more likely than what you would expect in a generic random distribution. That's my conclusion from this data set.
So you're not looking at probability just yet. What you've done there is the expected number within n sets, right? So if you have 30 sets, like we were saying before, the expected number is 15, as we saw in column
Right.
B, right?
Yes.
Just because you saw 12 doesn't explain the actual probability of it appearing.
That's true. Yeah, let's dissect that. So this is just the number of times we'd expect it, not the probability of what we'd expect. Because 2 for 2, the probability would be half, right? Like every other number is a even number. So
Correct.
I would say in a random set of numbers, half of them should be a multiple of 2. So yeah,
Yeah.
this 15 thing doesn't help me. So
So
have to
we
say
only
half,
have the
1/30th.
physical observation in column C, and what you have to think about, again, it comes, at least with row 7, the coin toss is a perfect example. So what you're saying
Yes.
here is you're tossing the coins 30 times. And
Yes.
all I want in the series of all possible tosses, I want each of them to add up to 12 exactly. 12 instances of heads, right? So I toss the coin, it's, let's say, tails 18 times, which is highly improbable. You'll be at the tail end of the distribution.
Yes, correct.
And then I toss it further 12 times.
Yeah, the comparison
exactly
I did
heads.
was wrong. Forget the comparison I just did. That was off. We got to compare 12 out of 30, right, versus 15 out of 30. So 1/2 compared to 12 out of 30, which is a little over 1/3.
But forget the 15. The 15 is just because if you had an infinite data set, right, the expected division will match the probability.
Half,
And the
yes,
observed
exactly.
the observed division will be.
Yeah, I'm now shifting my view of column B, because column B it doesn't matter if it's 15. It matters if what the probability is, and the probability is half.
So yeah, I think you should ignore for now column B, because you've gone through the likelihood of the number and what it actually appears and so on.
Yes.
So column C is the actual appearance of that probability.
Can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing before you guys continue? So, is it fair to say that getting 12 instead of 15 falls within expected deviation
No.
of the frequency? Why not?
No, it's lower. It's lower than the expected.
Yeah,
Because 12 out of 30,
but it falls within a reasonable expected range.
I don't know what a
Right?
reasonable
So,
expected
yeah,
range
and
is.
let me expand on that. So, for example, if I flip a coin 100 times, if I get 47, right, to 53, that's reasonable. That falls within the expected laws of probability here. But if I get 20,
you're just going to go with standard distribution.
Yeah, but if I get 20/80, that's not reasonable. That's not within the expected distribution.
It's been a while, so the guy that's helping us out. Sorry, brother. What's your name again? We've
Said,
spoken.
wait, let me just confirm this with him. Said, am I making sense? Is that correct?
Yes, you are making sense, but
You
that's
just
under
have
the
to-
supposition that the probability is known.
Right,
So you're right.
right.
If we know the probability, for example, a coin toss without a machine that can predictably get it to heads, just a sec, Reshard, just to confirm his point, then every time you toss a coin and it's a balanced coin, over a higher number of end sets, the more you toss it, the closer you should get to 50%.
Yeah, it's going to get to 50. Yeah, the more you throw it, the closer.
And you're right. If you only get to 20 after, let's say, 1,000,000 tosses, something's wrong. Either the coin is unbalanced or there's someone,
yes,
the technique
that's
controlling
exactly,
that toss.
Yes,
Correct.
that's exactly the point I'm making. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's correct.
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
So now
yeah.
let's look at the actual numbers. 12 out of 30 is a little over 1/3. Okay. Fair? A little under 1/3. Sorry, a little under 1/3. So it's less than 0.3% of the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's call it. It doesn't matter, but it is
Not 0.3, but 33%.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let's say 0.3. I don't know what the standard distribution is here, because this is not half, right? What I should expect is half of the time, but I got something lower than half. So the interesting
you need to get past column C, because the more difficult part is the probability of it in column D and E. So what column E is saying is, given that the probability of a coin toss is 50%, if I toss the coin 30 times, 1 in 12 instances will be 12 divisible by heads, for example. So if you do this 12 times, 30 tosses of the coin, one of those will have 12 of them being heads at 50% probability.
One of those will be heads at 50% probability. I'm not tracking that.
So you have to imagine tossing the coin 30 times, right?
Okay.
And every time it's a possibility that each of those add up to 12 instances, right? So for example, I toss the first coin and it's a
So
heads.
sorry, when you're using 12 instances, just give me a second. First, explain what the odds of the event are. 1 in 30. What
The
is the
odds
X?
are
What is
50%.
the X
Whenever you
there?
flip the coin, it's always 50%.
Yeah, what's the X there? Is that 2?
Which X? In column
Odds
E?
of event in column E, yeah.
Yeah, so that's saying the likelihood in tossing the coins 30 times that any number of those permutations, like the dice thrown,
Mm-hmm.
there's 1 in 12 chance that 12 of them will be heads. I mean, it could be heads, whatever your target.
1 in 12 chance that 12 of them will be that number.
Yes.
So this is correlating, E is correlating to C.
Yes.
Do you guys have the formulas for this? It's so easy. Like we're trying to work backwards here. The formulas would be so
The
easy.
best way is if you look at, I'll see if I can look at Wolfram. It shows you the distribution as well. So for example, let's say I wanted only one heads, right? You can change the number there. And if I put 1, and again, this is...
Okay, let me do it. Let me say it with you again. Out of 30 flips, the probability that 12 out of 30 will be heads.
Correct, yes.
Not in any sequence, just any 12 out of 30 will be
Correct.
heads.
Yes. It could be the first and the last and whatever in
Yeah.
between. It could be all the first 12 and none at the back and so on.
Okay. So the probability that 12 will be heads.
Have you got it open as an Excel file? Because it's helpful if you can manipulate these numbers.
Yeah. Let me just. No, I'm not in front of my computer. I'm on my phone.
So just take a moment. I just want to fill everyone in that joined. So what the discussion is right now, we're talking
You gotta
about
fill
laws
them in,
of...
Navid. You know
we
what?
just fill them in.
You know what
There's new people here. So just what we're talking about is the mathematical miracle of the Quran. We're talking about 29 initial chapters. And is it possible for there to be multiples of 19 in the amounts that we've seen? So what we've done is done an analysis of
No, that's not in the amounts that we've seen, because your multiples of 19 are not counted like this. So
No.
first of all,
Even the ones that hold on. Just using this method. Let's not even use aggregates, right? Just this method.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just this method. We could toss out the ones that are aggregates, right? No
Okay,
problem.
but this method, is it arbitrary or not?
No. Well, the idea is that this is a consistent methodology.
It's
right?
not though, because
it is consistent because we're counting the total. Hold on, we're counting the total of the initials occurring within that given chapter, and we're doing that over and over and over again. Yes. So we're doing that for 29 chapters. We're doing that. That is that's considered consistent methodology.
Yeah, I understand. That's fine. So in this case, right? So you're just saying
Sorry, quick question before you continue. Why is there 30 instead of 29? Am I missing a chapter initialized?
Yeah, there's only 29. There's only 29 initial chapters. It's not. There's 30 because there's 30 initial verses. That's why it's 30. Yes. There's 30 initial.
Because there's one with 30, 2 verses, right?
Yes, exactly. That's Hamim. It's chapter 42. It's Hamim, and then it's Ayin Sin Qaf. So that constitutes 2 of the initial chapter verses.
I see. I'm with you.
Say that again. I didn't follow that.
Chapter 42 is Hamim, Ayin Sin Qaf. They're 2 separate verses, right?
So
that's why. The number, well, I said 29 chapters, but there's 30 initial verses. That's just a fact.
Whoever did this Excel sheet, yes, they counted that as 2 separate instances.
Yeah. So again,
enjoy your prayer, Brandy.
Well, yeah, because the reason is go do your prayer, Brandy. Don't miss your prayer. Because the idea is that it's counting each, and that makes sense why it would be 30, right? Because it's counting each initial verse, the letters in that initial verse in that given chapter. So that's why in chapter 42, it's going to have 2 bites at the apple. First, it's going to count Hamim, then it's going to count Ayin Sin Qaf. So there's going to be two bites of
it doesn't
apple.
matter.
So the,
It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't really matter. Look, because at the end of this, I really want to make sense of the data, right? Then we could talk about how we should divide it up. There's other ways to divide it up. I could have
Have you
done for
got the
each
Excel
letter.
open?
Yeah, I have it open. No,
So I
I'm
want
not
to
on my
do.
computer. I can't get to my computer right now. So
Oh,
if you don't
it's
mind.
fine. So, for
Yeah.
example,
So,
I'll just explain. If I change the number in row 7, column C, if I
okay.
wanted the observed divisibility by 2 to be 1, right? The probability that comes out from this distribution is 1 in 35 million. Because what that's saying is if you toss a coin 30 times, right, for only one of it in any permutation to be heads, the likelihood is 1 in 35 million. Does that make sense? You can see how that's physically manifests, right? If you put one.
Yeah. I get why you're saying the coin now, because the coin distribution is the same as the second prime, or the
Yes,
prime of
correct.
2.
Right.
I follow you now. Okay. So the odds of, okay, I see what you're saying. So now column E is saying that makes sense. Yeah. So there's some probability distribution for X number to occur within that. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the
so if I
12.41 is that's the probability?
yes, it's 1 in 12 chance that if you throw the coins 30 times, that any number of those will add up to exactly 12. Not
1 in
11,
12.
not 13. Because this isn't a summation of the probabilities.
Man, this is interesting. I have to think about this, right? I have to think why we're using this method, because to say that, because there, when you do a coin, you normally don't do this, right? Maybe I'm missing something about the coin toss. Usually, when I look at a coin toss and I ask, what is the probability that I will get heads 12 times? That's what this number is, 1 in 12.
Correct. It's saying if you throw the coins 30 times, in 1 in 12.4 will be adding up to 12, which is theoretically a high probability. If you change that number to, let's say, 15,
It's
right?
0.8. It's 8%. So 8% of the time, my 30 coin flips will result in a set of 12 heads. 8% of the time.
Correct, which is the same as 1 in 12. D and
Yes,
E are
exactly.
the same. E is just the reciprocal of D.
Very good. Thank you so much. That so the reciprocal is saying what is the opposite? That would be the 16 and 30.
Sorry, I lost you. Say again?
Okay, actually, maybe I lost you. When you say it's the reciprocal, what are you identifying? Because now I understand what E is saying. It's saying
Yes,
1
yeah.
out of 12 times, which is 10. Let's say 8% of the time, you will end up with this distribution.
Yes, so 8% is 0.08, right? 1
Yes.
over 0.08 equals to 1 over 12.41. That's what I
Okay.
meant
Yeah,
by
I'm
reciprocal.
with that.
Yeah. So
But wait, sorry. What is column D? What's that number? Oh, I see. I see it
that's the
now. I see it.
percentage.
Yeah, I got it.
If
It's
if
just
you
written
change
in a
that
format.
formatting to
Yeah.
percentage, it will
I
make
got
more
you.
sense.
I got you. It makes total sense. So I'll just go with percentage from now on. Well, let me see. This is 8%, 7%. My this is formulated as, is that
Yeah.
10%
It
or
depends on
13%?
how many digits you're going back, but it's 13.3. That's the prime 5.
Yes. I go
So,
back 1 instead of 2, because the E minus 2 is telling me to go back 2. So I go back 2 digits and I get 0.08, which is the 8%.
yes.
Like
Are you on your
this could
phone?
be, yeah, this could be made really simple, right? So I'll do this and it'll help, because no one should go through this process to try to figure out what's being written here. Now I get it. Okay, so now it's saying E and D and E are saying the same thing. There's no point in putting them like that. So D is saying that 10% of the time you will end up with 12 out of 30 for any random set of numbers, any random set of 30 numbers.
Yes.
12% of the time 8% of the time you will end up with 12 of those numbers being even.
Now, what's interesting here, and it may help you to sort of see this sort of distribution. If you put 15, that number grows to 14%. So
Where is
if
that?
you said, no, I changed the number. So for example,
Perfect.
if I said there's 15 of these chapters that were divisible by 2, The probability of that is 1 in 7, roughly, or 14.4%. It's a higher probability because that's your expected division.
So this is the problem is okay, yeah. That makes sense. Okay. So we're not talking about each flip. We're talking about the total number of flips. That if for the total number of flips, for half of the time, that they should be a even number is or heads, is, you said 15%?
You mean as is? Sorry, or what did you say?
So look, the mapping. Okay, so
If it was 15, sorry, if it was
yeah,
15, it's
let me see if I
14.4%.
have the two percentages correct now. Okay, the first percentage is that half of the time I'm expecting that any set of numbers, 10 of them, 30 of them, etc., would be an even number. That's just a normal. That's the distribution of even numbers.
Yeah.
So whether I have a distribution of 30 of them, or 50 of them, or 100 of them.
Yeah, the expected division is always effectively half of that.
Yes. In reality, less than half of the time, I'm ending up with an even number.
In this instance, yes, we observe that exactly
Yes,
12
in this data set.
happens to be divisible by 2. Yes.
Yeah, in this data set. To me, that's indicating that the data set is not entirely random, right? That there's some, maybe not a strong correlation, but I don't know. Again, so this is where the standard deviations make a difference, right? So if it's one standard deviation away versus 2 standard deviations away, there's some what is the term for it? Man, it's been a while since I've been in a statistics class, but it's not statistically significant.
Yeah, within the first 2 standard deviations in a normal distribution, you have
Yeah.
about 66.7% of the population.
Beautiful. That meaning
Outside of that,
the first standard deviation, which is left and right, that's the 66%.
correct. Yes.
Okay. The
66.7
second
roughly,
standard
but yes,
deviation.
comes to 95%.
Okay. So if it's within the first standard deviation, that's normal. I could expect, that it's within the range of reasonable difference. So we don't have to make it forget. But if it's outside of that, right? If it's happening, less than, if it's happening 5% of the time, that's pretty special, right? That's not accidental.
Yeah, it will be closer to the 4th deviation or
Yes.
entering the 5th or so on. If you're looking at IQ or height distribution or whatever, the people with the highest IQ, 140 plus, they would have roughly 5 standard deviations from the entire population. They will be in the 99.9 percentile, probably 9999 percentile. But yes, you're right. Even at 95%, that's still roughly 3 to 4 standard deviations of the population. Still there? So I did a Wolfram calculation. I'm just going to include it as a screenshot so we can see this this distribution, just so we understand it. 1. Right. Am I still here or am I disconnected? I think I'm still
I hear
here.
you just fine. You're fine.
So what I posted in chat, obviously we've got to wait for Brother Reshard here because this is what's interesting to him, is showing you the distribution of a number 2 appearing in this set. So here, if you find exactly 12, that's where that percentage is, which is 8%.
Did you make this?
Yeah, use Wolfram. It's just a...
You just made this?
Yeah, we can do all the numbers following
So can
this.
we do this? Yeah, let's do this for the number 19 because that's really what matters at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, of course. I'll do that now. So
So
we'll
that's
say
really what
probability.
this. Yeah, go ahead.
We're saying 30 trials and 18 successes. Right. And this is the distribution.
But let's grant him some stuff here. Let's go with his more restricted approach. So deny noon, right? Because he's going to say, look, you don't have a manuscript on noon. Give him noon. So remove that one. So deduce it by 1. What else do we want to remove? Give him all the aleph counts too, okay? So we're going to give him noon and all the aleph counts. So that's 11 and noon. That's 12. Deduce it by 12. So it's 18. Remove 12 of them. So
are you saying 6 of them being divisible by 30? Is that what you want?
Yes.
But I don't understand the noon point. What's that?
He's saying that there's no manuscript for noon, right? And he doesn't accept this correction system.
Because it's noon wow noon or something like that.
Yeah, it's noon wow noon, exactly.